Welcome to the video, everyone. Today I want to show you a hack for anyone who owns one of these. Now this is a photography carry case. So it's got wheels on the bottom and a handle on the top, and you can fit sort of a lot of gear in here. Generally I carry around 2 big light stands, 2 of these, the power cables and spare batteries and triggers and everything that go with it. They can fit a lot of stuff. Now, I think there's probably many on the market. This particular one is by Neewer. And I got this about 4 years ago. I kind of got it because it was fairly cheap. And to be fair, it's been fine until a couple of weeks ago, when the handle of it started to come loose. Now, by come loose, I mean that one side of it, there was a large clunk, and one side of it started to feel like it was pulling away from the case itself. And then, not long after that, the other side went. And you could physically see, as I was pulling the handle, it was pretty much being only held on by the material itself. It wasn't connected to the inner case. So I decided to do some investigating. And this was where... Now, if you open this up, you'll find there's a zipper around the inside edge. And if you undo that, what you basically find is the makeup of this entire case is a one-piece plastic molded shell that has this rugged fabric on the outside and the soft felt on the inside. That's it, but it's just a plastic shell. Now, the handle, and also it turns out the stand and the wheels on the bottom, are, I don't know the technical term for them. It's not a screw bolt, it's essentially like almost like a rivet head that goes through one end and like a clamp that sticks on the other end, and they lock together, and that stops it from coming apart. Except that head has basically ripped 2 holes in the plastic, and so it wasn't, the handle itself was no longer being anchored onto the plastic shell. It was merely the fabric that was clamped between the two that was holding it all together. Which is not ideal. You know, if I was trying to drag this, say, upstairs or up a hill, and that fabric was to rip, whole thing's going sailing bye-bye. So I've made a very simple modification to fix this problem. Now, personally, I would suggest if you have a case like this, make this modification now rather than risk it later. And it's a very simple, cheap hack. All I did was I went down to my local retail park. There's a shop there called The Range, which they basically just sell all sorts. And they had a hardware section, only a small one. And I bought the large black triangular brackets that go on outdoor gates and a pack of M4 and M5 nuts and bolts. That was it. And all I've done is cut either end off the bracket, so I've basically just got a piece of sheet metal. I mean, you could do it with sheet metal if you prefer. It was just, this was more convenient for me, frankly. Take the original handle off. I had to use a pair of pliers to pull the clamps off. But take that off, use the handle holes to mark where to drill the new holes in the metal, and then I put the plate on the inside, the handle on the outside, and used the M4 screws to screw them together. And I put 2 nuts on it just to make sure it was secure. And since using it, handle has been completely rigid. Basically, it is just having a metal plate on the inside spreads the load out over a larger area of the plastic rather than the 2 tiny areas that the original setup was doing, which is just a bad design. They've got the same basic design for the bottom section, which is the wheels and the little stand feet. I've not bothered with them because they've been fine. It's more the handle, which is obviously taking the weight of you pulling everything, that seems to have had the problem. Now, this particular case is I've had it 4 years now. I believe they've changed it slightly because I've noticed on some of the newer ones that Neewer offer, they've got a handle on the bottom as well, presumably for 2 people carrying it. Now, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here that I imagine the new cases still use the same method, and probably on the bottom as well. So merely for anyone who either already owns one of these cases or is considering buying one of these cases, the newer ones at least I mean, they're cheap, they're cheerful, but they get the job done pretty well. But the handle is a crap design on them. And, you do not want the handle ripping off and your case going wheeling away without you. So it is well worth, if you either have or are considering buying one of these, take the time, spend the extra. It cost me less than a tenner to buy the brackets and the bolts. But other than that, I think the Neewer case is brilliant. But yeah, the handle definitely needs a modification. Maybe, hopefully, Neewer will change this in the future. But for now, spend the extra tenner and the time to rig yours up to be a bit more sturdy. That is going to conclude this video. As always, if you have any questions or queries regarding this, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. While you're down there, if you found the video helpful, then please consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and then hopefully we'll see you in the next video.